I finished all of the endings, all of the tips, which you get a set of tips with each ending. So if you get all the endings, you're gonna get all the tips. All of the musics in the soundtrack, and all of the movies, because you get a movie with each loop and with each ending. But I still have some art assets missing. So a couple Yuka ones, some Saki ones, and some variations of the barbecue. And so, in addition to that, 5 scenes are still missing as well. So I thought, well, these scenes, there isn't really hints about how to get each scene if you haven't got it yet. There's just this, let's see here, 7, 12, 15 question marks in a row. And these scenes aren't in chronological order as listed on this playing log. They are in very disorganized order, and fill in kind of randomly as you go through the game. So there's no way to tell which way I should go in order to find these scenes that I have not experienced yet, apparently. So my first thought was, well, if we look at the original files, which I'm going to bring up here, and we go to the clear list, we have the lists of the scenes, but this time instead of it being, if you don't get that scene, it's not as unknown what you're trying to get because the amount of letters in each word is listed. And the scenes are organized by route. So you have Kamen, Yuka, Haruka, Saki, Kurumi, Azumi, Kirei, and Azumi. So I thought, okay, I can go through the list of endings on the love port. And waiting for it to come up. It's black screen right now. Hello. Okay. It's something to do with the GPU that causes it to do that. I can look at how many letters are in each word for each of these scenes listed here, compare it to the scenes listed in the original files, and figure out where the ones I have land and figure out which ones are missing so I know which route to go on to get to the scenes I'm missing. Well, it turns out that there's a lot more scenes missing than 5. So it says I have 204 out of 209, but just looking through the Azumi Kirei route alone, let me pull it up. So here we go. Going back to this menu, I see I have 204 out of 209. 9 of those are just the Appin story, for which I've got all of them. So it's actually like 195 out of 200. In the Azumi Curate route alone, there were 6 scenes that it says were there that I could not find an analog in the scenes that I got in the love port. And all 6 of those ended in 154. Meaning these ones, 154, whatever that phrase is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 endings all in that letter pattern. Actually, it looks as there are 3 first. Not necessarily. All 6 of the endings that or scenes in the clear list that have that letter pattern on them, they are missing from the endings I found in Loveport. It turns out that even though the Loveport, the scenes are very disorganized, the scenes 167 to 200, excluding 173, are actually all from the Azumi Kirei ending. And so the Azumi Kirei scenes do appear at the end of the list, but they intersperse. It's like 167, 168, 169, 170, 184, 185, 186, 187, 1 missing, 188, 189, 1 missing, 190, then back to 171. So they go 172, 174, because 173 is Yuka versus, Makoto versus Yuka. Yeah, it's from Common, I think. 191, 192, 175, 193, 194, 195, 176, 177, 178. So they kind of skip between 2, they kind of interlace a bit. but with the exception of Makoto versus Yuka, 160, yeah, 167 to the end is Izumi Kure. But the 6 that had that letter pattern were missing. And then if you look at Izumi, you see that also there's one's missing that I can't. There's even more missing. So although it says I'm missing 5, probably it's on the love port, there's more than 5 missing on the original files. And so that's not going to help me, essentially. The only way for me to clear this up, it appears, would be for me to actually click through the original files. Which I suppose I could do. Looks like the original file is easy to reset. You just kind of delete everything in the save in one of these directories. But I got this idea before I start to go and pursue that route, and that is try to get the Yuka route, which is something I rarely do nowadays, but make sure I go to the hot spring on the first way through, and that might give me some CGs and scenes that I missed the first time. I have a feeling that's going to do something good, so we're going to try doing that. We're going to skip the intro cutscene. Thoughts together. Uh. Yeah, let's go pool. Don't go. Rock. Let's see what that does. Okay. The idol who hanged himself. I love dolls. Okay, now we're actually at the hot springs. You get choked. I'm gonna go fishing. The officer, okay. Yuka loop. Cool. So now I have a Yuka loop with hot springs in the first time around. See if the game adapts to that. Yep, I can't fast forward. Okay. So it's just as promised yesterday we go to the pool. Instead of, we already know that Kurumi's faking her illness. Serves you right, which is different. Okay. Fun anxiety. Okay. After that, I tumbled down on top of my bed to return bed the moment I returned to my room. Kurumi's in the living room watching Odo Gotten. Everyone else went to the hot springs. Of course, I was also invited, but this being the ninth day of camp, my body was so exhausted that I didn't have the energy to go to the hot springs. I lie in the bed and gently close my eyes, before allowing my consciousness slowly fades into a deep sleep. In the middle of the night, I suddenly wake up. For some reason, it was a pleasant awakening. It might be because I was sleeping extremely deeply. Anyway, I feel completely awake, no feelings of drowsiness left within me. I doubt I'll be able to sleep like this. Since I'm awake, I'll... Here we go. Try going to the hot springs. I'll try going to the hot springs. Making up my mind, I jump out of my bed. As I soak up the hot water, I look back on today, Wednesday, April 3rd. The April 3rd in the last loop had Saki getting mad and storming away. And she revealed the fact that Haruka was a clone. If that's so, then that means that this time the others won't know about that. Well, this doesn't necessarily sound like a bad thing. It doesn't really need to be hidden, but there's no reason to tell them either. Since Saki didn't almost drown, this peaceful day was able to happen. Ha. I sigh. I noticed that the heat has even permeated into the core of my body, to the point where I can feel a profuse amount of blood pounding against my temples. It seems it's the best if I get going now. I slowly stand up, quickly change into my clothes, and leave the hot springs. It seems my body is completely rushed up to my head. My blood has completely rushed up to my head. I return to my room and immediately throw my body onto the bed. The dizziness I feel from all the blood in my head makes me feel like I'm being rocked in a cradle. I close my eyes and suddenly fall into a peaceful sleep. Okay. And then we do go help Kurumi. And then we get the Yuka good ending again. So that gave me no new art assets. Or new scenes. Wow, this gave me a new choice. Just stay here. I'll just stay here. I think that and close my eyelids again, but I really can't sleep. Man, this is leading on to something here. If I go to the hot springs are just a big pain in the butt. Okay, let's pick the top choice. If I go to the hot springs, I'll probably get sleepy. Making up my mind, I jump out of my bed. It lets me fast forward, right? So that's gonna change nothing, I presume. Right. Okay, cool. Let's do what it's trying to make me not do. Hot springs are just a pain in the butt. Nonetheless, it doesn't change the fact that I can't sleep. Then what should I do? It doesn't give me another choice. If I knew this was going to happen, then I should have brought a book. It's really leading up to something here. Okay, let's try this. It can't be helped. I go to the hot springs. I'll probably get sleepy. Making up my mind to jump out of my bed. Okay. I presume it's going to be the same, right? I know what it is. And then we good in ourselves. Okay. Try thinking deeply. As I absently stare at the ceiling, I think about today. Wednesday, April 3rd. The April 3rd in the last loop had Saki getting... Okay. This is the same dialogue, just not at the hot spring. Huh. Why'd they give you all those choices if they don't matter? Okay. Okay. That got me nothing. Well, it was worth a try. Wow. How do I get those scenes? Well, I'll think about this. I'll make this a very short recording. If you can call 17 minutes short. And think about this and come back to it. I do know that that did not work.